My name is Steve Layton, and I travel the world finding amazing and delicious coffee for you to drink at home. Some make coffee difficult to understand and complicated, but here it's my job to make it easy and fun and tell you what's in my mug. So hello everyone and welcome to In My Mug, episode 422. I'm not doing the date thing because I can't remember what it is. And this week it's a little bit different. I recorded the tasting yesterday while I was in Treetops, and I mentioned this guy a billion times while I was doing the tasting. So Brian, do you want to introduce yourself to the people who are watching on the video at home, like who you are and why you're sitting there?
Hi everybody, I'm Brian. We're in Kenya.
We are.
And we're looking at my coffee.
Your coffee.
Okay, Kiriga coffee, which Steve has bought for the last few years.
I mean, these guys know the coffee because it's been on In My Mug quite a few times, and the feedback is always amazing. Like, it's always super positive because people love Kenyan coffees. It's just it's a thing. So the farm is Kiriga?
Yes, the farm is Kiriga. We are located in Murang'a County.
No, you're not.
Okay, we are in Thika.
Fantastic.
Divided by Chania River.
So this is an in-joke that the boundaries have recently moved, haven't they?
Yes.
So I've always got, this is from Thika, and this year it's not from Thika, and I'm not changing it.
Okay, so we're good. We're from Thika. The farm hasn't moved.
Yeah.
It's the boundaries that moved.
Yes.
So we're from Thika.
But you're super close to the town of Thika as well, aren't you?
Yes, we're only about 8 to 10 kilometers away from the city centre, the Thika town city centre.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much in town.
And you're going to see that on the map bit in a little while, so you'll see exactly where it is when we zoom in and show all the bits. So Kiriga is a little bit unusual. Do you know what I'm saying?
How's that?
Well, because a state coffee in Kenya is just disappearing, isn't it?
Yes. So we basically on our road we had about 12 farms, 12 estate coffees. Of those 12 farms, all of them have either shrunk, been sold, and gone into they're now doing flowers. Recently, they're doing macadamia. And of course, the biggest thing right now is going into real estate.
Yes.
And next door, we've actually had one of our farms very recently sell off over 100 acres to go into real estate. The farm next door so completely went into real estate. Across the reach, real estate. And we want to be the last man standing.
And Brian will, because you're pretty stubborn, and I think you'll probably follow that through. The farm, how did you come to be involved in the farm? So it was your father originally?
Yes, it's my dad bought the farm way back in 1976. Mm-hmm. But before that, along the road, he actually planted the first coffee on behalf of his dad when he was a little, he was a teenager, when he was a little boy, about 10, 12 years old. So he planted the first coffee that was allowed to be planted by the local people, pre-colonial days.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I just have to say that wherever I go. I'm English. I just have to say I'm very sorry.
Yes, accepted. So Kiriga is up the road from where he was born. So he would actually drive up and down the place, and his attachment with coffee was from what he saw his dad do, and his dad set up Gaitegi Farm, okay, and we still have some coffee at Gaitegi.
Which we're hoping to have a look at as well. If that man sitting behind there manages to get the samples to us, we're going to try that this year as well, so it's exciting.
Oh, that'll be good. Yes, and so he bought the farm. He bought the farm when people were allowed to buy farms, and we've had it in the family from 1976. And I have 5 other brothers and sisters, and I think I'm the only one who really has an interest in coffee, who really understands what we grow, what we do, because I worked very, very, very closely with my dad, up to the time he passed away like 2 years ago. So,
well, you were also involved you've been involved in the Kenya Coffee Auction,
yes.
haven't you? You were the chairman,
Yes.
is that right?
Yes, when I got involved in coffee actively, there were so many little things that were happening that we wanted. We were wondering, why does this happen this way and not the other way? So I got involved in coffee politics. We formed an association known as Kenya Coffee Producers Association. We brought together the cooperatives and we brought together the Estates Association to form one association that could fight for the rights of coffee farmers. And it was called Kenya Coffee Producers Association. And with that, we had a united voice. And this united voice, we were to do various things. And one of the things that we needed to do was we realized that the auction, there was some things that were not quite right at the auction. And so we set about with other stakeholders to try and change the system. So we lobbied for that. We had opposition even from within ourselves. And eventually, we were very happy. We actually managed to change and to change how the auction was run. And when the government came in, the new government came in about 4 years ago, we were appointed to sit on the board. And when that happened, everybody turned around and said, we need a chairman. And the obvious choice for chairman was Brian. So Brian became the first chairman of the Nairobi Coffee Exchange.
That's fantastic. And I think it's fair to say that the auction, for all of its faults, is actually very good for a lot of Kenya coffee, and the changes have just made it kind of better. Because it is, if you look at other countries' exchanges, like Ethiopia's commodity exchange and things, they've had real growing pains, where Kenya have been established for a long time, and it seems like a good system on the whole. Would that be a fair assessment?
We cannot do without the auction. Okay, I think we need to be very clear. The auction is an integral part of the Kenyan coffee system, and if anybody was to say we get rid of the auction, that would be the wrong thing to do. And basically, every single coffee can be sold at the auction, be it specialty, all the way down. Every coffee will find a buyer at the auction.
Well, that's where the auction helps you, because we're buying some of the top quality things, but you always have stuff on the farm that isn't top quality, and I guess it's a process of being able to sell the other bits that doesn't have a specialty desire or market, and in a clean and transparent way as well. Would that be fair?
Yes. Ideally, even if we manage to sell all our specialty coffee, or cooperatives and estates manage to sell all the specialty coffee, they would still be left with at least a minimum of 30% of their production that would not find a home. And the only home that would be at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. So what we're saying is a lot of effort is being put to go into direct sales, and that's the right thing to do. And as we look for buyers, for roasters, for people out there to buy the coffee like yourselves and others, it is important that the auction system stays there. It does very many things. It gives us price discovery, it takes care of the 30%, and the thing we should do is actually improve on it.
Yeah. And for exporters, it can be a very useful tool as well, can't it? That need to buy coffee to fill allotments that they have for customers, they can buy from the exchange, so it's kind of useful for them too. Brian, that's been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on with this. We're going to go now to the map bit and the fact file, which are going to come both after each other, and then you're going to get a live Roland stat fact as well. He doesn't know about it, but he's standing over there, so he's going to do that as well. And then we're going to go to the tasting at Treetops. But Brian, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for the coffee. We love it. We love working with you. It's a fantastic relationship, and I'm really pleased that we found you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Time for this week's map bit. Here we're focusing on Has Been headquarters, and we're looking down to Africa. Africa, amazing place for coffee, an amazing country, such potential and possibilities. Kenya is named after Mount Kenya, the tallest mountain in the country, which is 5,199 metres above sea level. It's a big old mountain. But yeah, let's get down into the details. So here we have Kiriga. This is the actual farm, the washing station. Kiriga is kind of a farm that we've worked with for the second year now. Here we have Brian. This is the farm owner, and it's unusual to find the states now in Kenya. We're seeing them disappear more and more. Here's Brian with his manager, and walking down the road with a good friend of mine who helped me kind of hook up with Brian, if you like. So get a feeling of the town and the surrounding area, and get a real kind of look. The highest point is Mount Kenya, we've already said, and the lowest point is the Indian Ocean, which is of course sea level. So it has access to its own ports, which I think is Djibouti, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. So here we go, we get a better view of what's happening here. We can see that it's very neatly laid out. It's a very well organised farm. Those sections you can actually physically see when you're walking around. It's a really amazing place. And that was the map bit. So here we have this week's fact file. We have the continent of Africa. Africa, an amazing place, the birthplace of coffee, of course. But we're focusing on Kenya, not Ethiopia. Kenya, we can see here, has 170,000 hectares devoted to coffee, which is a pretty big piece of land there. They are the 21st biggest producer, but one of the most important, I think, in specialty. Total coffee production is 850,000 bags, which is 51,000 metric tons. Common varietals, you got Arabica, you have a little bit of Robusta, they're not varietals. We're looking at SL28, SL34, varietals like that. Coffee is grown between 1,400 and 2,000 metres above sea level. We have 15 farms we've worked with in Kenya, which is pretty huge, but we've actually scaled that down to 3 this year. But one of them is Kiriga, so we have varietal SL28. It's in the constituency of Katanga, in Morga, near Thika, owned by Brian Gakunga, an altitude of 1,500 to 1,650 metres above sea level. And that was the fact file.
When depulping cherry, they can work out whether the cherries are ready to finish the demucilaging process by how they feel. Do they feel like fine sandpaper?
So we're back. Hopefully, Brian has been on the first bit that we're planning to record tomorrow. We say hopefully, because every time I plan these things, they never go right. Funnily enough, this week we don't have the espresso or the cappuccino, because Roland, who was my barista, didn't bring an espresso machine with him. Not good enough. Just didn't try hard enough. He could have brought it in his hand luggage, but no. So we've got the brewed coffee, so let's dive straight in. I don't know why there's suddenly a background noise either. There wasn't a background noise for the whole half an hour we've been setting up. But yeah, so the filter coffee, for me, this is the best way to drink Kenyans anyway. You've heard me before talk about it. Espresso and Kenyans are just too bright, too acidity, too much, too in your face. This for me in the brewed is a typical profile for Kenyan. You've got that beautiful black currant and it's so prominent in the front end. Where it differs from other Kenyans is that, I'm going to go back in, it's got black currant and then it turns into like a white grape, kind of green apple, and it's super sweet. It's such a complex cup. Every time I come back to it I find something else. Sometimes I find cherry, sometimes I'm finding the white grape, sometimes it's green apple, sometimes it's all three with the black currant. The only thing that is always there is the black currant, and I just think it's a fantastic example, if not the best example of an estate Kenyan I've ever found since Gethambuini. And Gethambuini is just a moment in time that was very special, but as we've talked about in the video earlier, Gethambuini is across the road from where Kiriga is, so we can't get any closer because Gethambuini is a gated community now. I'm really pleased that we found Brian. I'm really pleased that Brian found us. I think it's a fantastic relationship. It's something I'm working really hard on to continue, and a lot of the reason for this visit was to come and see him. As you saw earlier, inverted brackets hopefully, he's amazing, and he does such a good job. And if you didn't see him earlier, he does a good job anyway. Thank you for joining me. Thank you to Roland for brewing the coffee, the man from Del Monte who's holding the camera. Thank you to Simon who's joined me on this trip, who's also sitting there staring at his phone, smiling like an idiot, waving at me. It's been a fun trip, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. And do remember, life is too short for bad coffee.